I was coming home from school and my mom was at work at the time and there was like nothing to eat in the house.
So food insecurity now is pretty much defined. There's various definitions depending on who you talk to, whether it's the U.S. Department of Agriculture or Feeding America or the United Nations or the Food and Agricultural Organization, because of their perspectives. But at the fundamental level, at base level, it refers to people who just are not sure where they're going to get their next healthy meal.
This is the story of Daisy Rodriguez, who has struggled with food insecurity in her youth.
I was born in India. From then, my mom moved back to her home country in Puerto Rico. But then we were there until I was like about 8, and then we moved to the United States. And the rest of my time I spent in Philly. The first time I experienced hunger was at the age of 9 when I was coming home from school and my mom was at work at the time and there was like nothing to eat in the house besides like crackers. Well, you know, my first experience with hunger was when I was 9 and that was like a consistent thing until the age of 13 when my mom rejoined the military in order to have like a stable income. Since then we've like traveled a lot due to like her being deployed and everything.
But that basically the families can't afford to feed their kids because there's a horrific inequality, income equality situation in the country.
So back home, my mom was pretty stable because she was a nurse, and she was in the Army before she had me, and she was a nurse. So in Puerto Rico, we were pretty stable, but because of all like the gang violence that was going around that time, we moved to the U.S. and that was devastating to my mom because she didn't know English. So because of that, she wasn't able to work in the field that she was so dedicated to and loved to do.
Then there's some people that are now, things are serious enough that they're making adjustments to what they eat and to what they buy. For example, they may skimp on lunch to be able to eat at dinner, or they might have toast or for breakfast so that they can have something a little more hearty at lunch. They're starting to like work things around. Or maybe the mom would say, you know what, I'm just going to have a little cup of soup because I want my child to have some better food. So they're eating, but they're not really eating the best things. They're having to make, like as I say, make determinations and judgments every day on how to get by from the perspective of food. So they're classified as low food security, and that's actually a form of food insecurity.
When I was about like 11 or 12, I can't really remember the time, but we were like extremely food insecure, and like I would notice that my mom would go without eating sometimes, and that like really hurt my heart because it's my mother and I don't want her to go through that. So even now, whenever we talk about it, it's such a strong emotion between us that, you know, sometimes that's not something that a child should notice, but it's hard not to when you're in that situation. I would say I joined a lot of like after school programs, only because it like distracted me of the hunger, and it would like allow me to like refocus my energy into something else than like actually thinking about what was going on. I've learned to always talk to people about like what's going on in my life and how I'm feeling, because the more you keep it in, the more it hurts you, and you can't get any help if you're not asking for it. But I learned that I have a strong faith background, and I know that if I go through things so other people don't have to, and the more I talk about it and the more I can help out, that assures that somebody else doesn't go through it.
What advice would Daisy give to other people experiencing food insecurity?
To stay strong and ask for help, even though most people see it as like shameful. It's really not. It's part of life, and it's something that so many people struggle with and should not be ashamed to ask for help.